There are fewer than 7,000 painted dogs left in the world. When it comes to the race to extinction, it's fair to say that painted dogs are winning, and it's a race that no species wants to be in. At PDC, we place a great deal of emphasis and importance on the individual. Whether that's an individual painted dog that might be sick, injured or orphaned, or whether that's one of the children that comes into our bush camp and has a life-changing experience. In particular, we place a lot of emphasis and prioritise opportunities to people from the local communities. People such as David Kuvawarga, who grew up in Wangi National Park and is now the operations manager for painted dog conservation. David is going to show you the work that we've been doing at PDC over the past years, the impact that the COVID pandemic has had on all of our lives. He's going to show the importance of some of the individuals that work at PDC and the roles that they play in supporting their families. It will highlight also that you are so much part of our team. You are in this fight together with us, and everything that we do and succeed in doing is because of you.
Hello there. I hope I find you well. Thank you, Peter, for the introductions. It is really an honor that I get to speak to you again at the WCN Expo. I speak to you from Wange, a place really close to my heart. This is where I grew up. My father was working for national parks, and I found myself around wildlife and wild places. And being in this role at PDC has finally got me back home. This is where I grew up, and it's really a pleasure for me to be here. And again, thanks to PDC for availing these opportunities to people like me and many others. 2021 was a difficult year, not only for people in Zimbabwe, but I am sure across the world. The pandemic hit, and it hit hard. We had our communities here reeling from the effects of the pandemic. Name it, from loss of employment, lack of access to the necessary PPEs. So us as PDC, we found it noble. We found it really critical that we are in there and helping communities, especially our local clinics that we had worked with for a long time before the pandemic. So through your support, we managed to secure the necessary PPEs that we delivered to 7 local clinics. And this really helped them a lot to make sure that they are safe themselves and the people that they attend to. We did this, of course, in collaboration with the local government, with the traditional leaderships that is around the local chiefs. And this is just to show that indeed conservation issues are human issues at the end of the day. If we find ourselves away from the people during these difficult times, I think at the end of the day we will not succeed in our goal for conservation. Human issues are equally also conservation issues, vice versa. The two are interlinked, and it is critical that we are together during this difficult time. We did not leave our staff out. We purchased a minibus so that they drive in comfort and safety. We used to ferry them in different type of vehicles, but the pandemic really asked us to step up, and through your support, we purchased this minibus, and it's really a peace of mind knowing that our staff are safe and comfortable. There were hard decisions during 2021 that many organizations had to make. Some organizations cut salaries, they laid staff, but we met as PDC on a round table with employees and discussed where we were at. We are so honored that through your support and funding of our activities, we found ourselves having reached this stage, that the decision was quite easy for us and unanimous, actually, that we were not going to let go of any of our staff. We kept all our staff on full pay, and this has really went on to help their families, and it has gone on to help the local businesses that are around, because we have kept our staff on the job. I'll introduce you now to some of our key staff that would like to extend a big thank you to all of you that have really stayed the course with us, that have really kept their promise, that have really supported us during these difficult times. It has not been easy, but you chose to be with us. You chose to stay with PDC during these difficult times. I'll let them say it for themselves.
My name is Maria Njamba.
My name is Agnes Ncube.
My name is Primrose Vanda.
My name is Thelesile Ndlovu.
My name is Belinda Ncube.
My name is Tanaka Sharara.
My name is Itai Moyo.
I am a former Bushcamp graduate. I'm now with PDC Anti-Poaching Unit team.
The manager of Iganyana Arts Center.
I am a GIS technician at Painted Dog Conservation.
I'm working at the rehabilitation facility as a research technician.
Working for Painted Dog Conservation as an interpreter for guide.
Your support helped me to support my family.
Your support helps me support my family.
Thank you for supporting us.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you for your support.
All our supporters, thank you very, very, very much for supporting us during these difficult times.
Indeed, your support is very much appreciated. Your support has allowed us to continue with our critical work. It has allowed us to keep our anti-poaching work going. It has allowed us to keep our research and monitoring work going. Earlier in the year, we ran a campaign to keep jailers in the field, and most of you supported us tremendously, and we are thankful for that. Since then, jailers has been able to continue with his work tracking and monitoring dogs inside and outside of Hwange National Park, and his colleagues have done the same in the mid-Zambezi Valley. It has not always been easy due to the pandemic. Sometimes the park would be closed and access would be difficult, but we have partners inside the park who will tell us about the availability of dogs and the state of the dogs, whether they're sick or they're injured. They also in turn had difficulties with their movements because of limited tourists inside the park. But we soldiered on. Together with them, we managed to continue doing the work that needed to be done. However, the threat to painted dogs is not gone yet. We still have roadkills as a threat to painted dogs. We still have loss of quality habitat as a threat to painted dogs. We still have diseases such as rabies and canine distemper. And we do have snares as a big threat to painted dogs. You can see Enoch Zulu holding a bunch of copper wires. These are a big threat to painted dogs, and they have a morbid way of killing painted dogs. Enoch and his team have really done a tremendous job by removing hundreds of snares each time they are in the bush. The pandemic did not help because the loss of employment, not only in the communities or around Hwange National Park, but even in the diaspora, really had a negative impact on the livelihoods of people around the protected areas. And this triggered a wave of an increase in poaching around Hwange National Park. And this increase saw a lot of snares being put in the buffer zone, and this increased the threat to painted dogs. We had to step up. We collaborated with the National Parks and Forestry Commission, ourselves, and including the members of the community. We came together and we deployed in many strategic areas so that we could cover as much ground as possible. And during these operations, to date we have been able to collect over 1,500 snares, and we've managed to do over 1,000 patrols, and we have done over 5,600 man-hours together. This was tremendous. Although, yes, the poaching escalated, but what we want to celebrate as Painted Dog Conservation is that the community also stepped up. The community was ready to come and join hands with organizations like us, National Parks and the Forestry Commission, to make sure that we nip this problem in the bud. And we've done just that. We don't always use the whip. We have our interpretive war at our visitor center here at Painted Dog Conservation, where we have taken in 70,000 visitors, and we have taught them about painted dogs and the threats to painted dogs. We have brought in communities. We have brought in prosecutors to learn more about painted dogs and to understand what the threats are. And this is a way to make sure that there's an understanding of how the situation with painted dogs is. We've also gone into communities, especially in 2021, and done theater. We've collaborated with the theater group, and we have put in messaging together around poaching. What are the methods that are used? What are the consequences to community members or anyone who is caught poaching? And we have found this impactful, and people have gone on to introspect and ask them questions and ask themselves questions, having seen the consequences of going into poaching. And we think this is quite a good way of interacting with the community and for them to get the messages that we want them to take away with or to understand themselves. And we will not hesitate to use this method in the future. Another way, of course, is to catch them young. Our Iganyana Children's Bush Camp, which has been running since 2004, has been tremendous, taking in 20,000 kids from 20 local primary schools and bringing them in to learn about conservation. I have a colleague today, Wilton Tsimango, who is going to tell us what has been happening with the Children's Bush Camp, and to also say a big thank you for those that have supported our work during these difficult times. It is through your support that we can achieve. It is through your support that conservation can win. Over to you, Wilton.
My name is Wilton Nsimango. I'm the Education and Community Development Programs Manager at Painted Dog Conservation. Our Children's Bush Camp plays a critical role in developing a positive attitude in the children towards not only painted dogs but wildlife in general. This in turn leads to behavioral change that helps create an environment where painted dogs can thrive. As you can see behind me, your generous support helped us undertake a substantial refurbishment of the camp. I'm delighted to say that we were able to reopen our camp again in May after the COVID pandemic shut things down in March last year. Thank you for your continued support through these difficult times.
Thank you, Wilton. As I conclude, many of you would know that conservation work such as PDC is long-term in nature. There's no quick fix. Be part of our team as we continue to change lives of both people and wildlife. Help us to continue having our research and monitoring teams in the field. Help us to keep boots on the ground with our anti-poaching teams. Help us to continue bringing those kids to the children's bush camp and secure the future. Help us to rehabilitate the sick and injured dogs, because every dog counts. Support our work and see how your life will be changed as we endeavor to create a conducive environment where painted dogs can thrive. For those that have supported our work already, we are truly grateful for your commitment and support. I thank you.